How's it going, you guys? So every now and then I get very ridiculous comments from people that I like to classify as spiritual vegans, okay? So obviously I have no problem with productive conversation, people who have something valuable to add to the perspective of other people who leave comments that are basically opening a forum for productive conversation where we can gain information on both sides. I actually love that and I welcome that. But when people comment on my videos or on anytime I'm exposed to this weirdness, people who are saying things like, oh, Jesus was vegan, the Bible is vegan, the Bible says to be vegan, the Bible doesn't say to be vegan, but even so, the Bible is not a nutrition textbook. This is flawed thinking. This is, irrational, illogical, and you have to wonder, why is this person using the Bible as a reference? Why are they not studying actual reality and people's experiences with veganism and with carnivore and keto diets, studying pathology and physiology? Why are people appealing to the authority of the Bible, a book that never was meant to, explain the natural human diet? Not to mention the Bible also states that, for one, Jesus ate fish and lamb, and in the Bible they're constantly eating animals. They ate bread and wine and whatnot too. But it's just kind of ridiculous to even be discussing what they ate in the Bible. But they did eat meat. Okay, and I've gotten funny comments from people telling me Jesus was vegan, the Bible says to be vegan. It's the Bible doesn't say that. It says the exact opposite. And in fact, Adam and Eve got sent out of the Garden of Eden for eating a forbidden apple, which is probably a poisonous fruit, you would think, and that's the way that they explained it. But anyway, I don't give a fuck, okay? I don't care about the Bible. What I care about is what gives me the best results in reality, and what gives other people the best results in reality. And by golly, if a vegan diet's working for you, then that's great. But most people that go on a vegan diet sooner or later run into problems, and they usually don't come out and admit they have health problems. They don't admit when they cheat on the diet. How could they? How could somebody like Happy Healthy Vegan come out on their YouTube channel and admit that, oh, I had a little bit of eggs the other day, but I'm back on my vegan grind? And they're not going to do that. To think that these people are 100% vegan just because they claim to be is just like thinking all of these professional athletes are 100% natural and not on steroids, when it's pretty obvious that the vast majority of them are. I'm not saying all of them are, but a lot of them get caught sooner or later, and then just because they're not getting caught or admitting it doesn't mean that they don't do it. But regardless, again, it's crazy flawed thinking. And then you have, just recently, this is kind of the funny part that kind of started my morning today, is there's this girl. Well, I don't want to be too specific, but this person commented on one of my posts about, just how amazing life is on a primarily animal-based diet. And, my mind is boggled over the fact that human beings don't seem to need vegetables. In fact, many human beings seem to live much better lives without vegetables. So again, I'm not against vegetables. In fact, most of the longest living societies on the planet, they eat a large amount of vegetables, and they also eat a large amount of animal fats and animal foods as well. For example, the Okinawans and Japanese, they eat the largest amounts of fish in the entire world per capita, and they always have. And you got to be pretty retarded to think that an island like Okinawa, who lives surrounded by fish, would not eat fish as a main part of their diet. They do. They always have, except for after World War II, World War II, the War of Okinawa, when all of their food was ravaged by the soldiers and their food supply was destroyed. There was a huge famine around that time where all this food data was collected. You know, they were on calorie restricted diets because they hardly had any food thanks to the war and those savage soldiers that came through. They had to get most of their calories from sweet potatoes because their chickens and their pigs were ravaged. So obviously they were restricting calories if they were in a food famine. And usually during famines, societies resort to grains and starches because their animal foods, their primary preference for energy, is taken from them. So, yeah, again, like the Okinawans are not vegan or plant-based, but, you know, except for during the famine when all of this information was collected. It's a classic case of misinformation to promote the vegan agenda. But so this person, this silly funny girl, claims that you have to go vegan to ascend to the ethereal realm. And she's saying she basically doubts that ex-vegans had any symptoms, any negative side effects besides feeling like a god. It's complete nonsense. Because when I was vegan for an entire year, my health went to complete shit. Okay, I tried everything. I reached out to vegan support groups. You know, some of them said, like the spiritual vegans said I was detoxing for an entire fucking year. You know, Vegetable Police was detoxing for 10 years. You know, the scientific vegan community said I just need to supplement properly, get my probiotics, you know, get my gut microbiome under control. You know, and the thing is, you know, the first 2 months I was raw vegan and I was into that spiritual shit, and my digestive system wasn't bad, but I sure felt diabetic, eating mainly fruit, you know. And then when I did the scientific vegan diet, I just had all the health issues, you know, feeling lethargic, getting psoriasis. My psoriasis was already there because of all the fiber I was adding. You know, years before that, I actually added grains and forbidden rice and things like that to my diet. Didn't realize that was causing me the psoriasis, but I actually had psoriasis for years. Well, for like 2 years leading up into veganism. And it wasn't until I went on an entirely starch-based, scientifically correct vegan diet that I realized it was the starches that were causing it. Because the more starches I ate, the worse my psoriasis got. And then I was seeing salads in my toilet. And, you know, and then within like 4 days of eating an autoimmune paleo diet, basically a Lauren Cordain style, you know, paleo diet, where I basically just ate, you know, beef steak, like lean beef steaks, you know, chicken breast. I ate leafy greens, and a little bit of like bananas and fruit here and there. And Jesus Christ, within 4 days, all of my problems that a vegan diet caused me went away. And then I kind of figured out, well, shit, I just had food intolerances. And it's these complex fibers that my body was having trouble breaking down. It was wreaking havoc on my body. Because I noticed it was mainly those harder to break down fibers. Things like potato skins, raisin skins, you know, the brown rice, you know, the things with a harder shell, nuts and seeds, basically anything that kind of like is similar to like corn, how it has an outer shell that you can't digest. My body was treating all these things like that. And some foods, my gut bacteria adapted and got better over time. Carrots, leafy greens, you know, at first, clients I work with say the same thing. They can't digest these carrots and whatnot at first. But then after eating them consistently for, you know, 3 to 6 days, they start to notice they don't poop them out anymore and they can digest them. But then when you remove them for a week or two and you start to eat them again, you have to wait a couple days before your body can digest them again. Whereas red meat, man, shit, I was vegan for an entire year. And then like the first day adding red meat back to my diet didn't take, days for my gut bacteria to adjust. I could always eat fucking meat. But plant foods, no. Some of them my body starts to digest after a couple weeks of eating it, a couple days. But things like rice, like forbidden rice and brown rice and oatmeal and shit like that, my body doesn't get used to digesting those foods. Anyway, so this crazy person ascend to the ethereal realm. I'm not gonna fucking suffer those digestive problems, the psoriasis and shit like that, to ascend to the ethereal realm. Like, what the fuck, man? I'm gonna suffer and die in this physical world that I know exists, the only world that I really should care about at the moment. I'm gonna do things that cause me suffering right now to ascend to this ethereal realm that I have no real tangible evidence it even exists. Maybe it exists, right? Really, when I hear shit like that, immediately I think, okay, this person probably spends hours watching YouTube videos about conspiracies and like Gaia on like that fucking Netflix for spirituality. Like they read about like root chakras, and she mentioned the root chakra, which I actually don't have anything against the chakra system. That's one thing, but to base your entire life around this idea of this higher realm that we have no evidence exists is foolish. But again, like, to buy into these ideas, these people are most likely watching like videos about like Naribu and humans or aliens and stuff, which I spent a lot of time looking up myself until I realized it's a big distraction from what actually matters right now. You know what I mean? But probably watching other gurus, like random YouTube people who like Nature Boy, who eat a raw vegan diet, and they're trying to ascend to greater levels of consciousness, and their entire life is about them living in the jungle, living a natural life, becoming a shaman, practicing Reiki, and eating a raw vegan diet that has been proven to cause physical deterioration. Their entire life is about ascending to this realm that doesn't even exist. And by the way, I did Shaolin Kung Fu, like real Shaolin from the Shaolin Temple for 4 years, from a 34th generation Shaolin disciple. And, I'm well aware of, the people who dedicate their lives to, enlightenment and things of that nature. I don't have anything against that. There's a difference between seeking like real enlightenment and real higher levels of consciousness, and then random, new age girls who watch these random YouTube people and conspiracy theories all day, pretending to be higher consciousness than everyone just because you watch YouTube videos about conspiracy theories and raw vegan enlightenment. There's a difference between meditating in a fucking cave for your entire life and watching videos about conspiracy theories and chakras and shit like that. Watching videos from people like me talking about chakras and these things that we don't have tangible evidence for. The ethereal realm. Like, really, if someone believed me, say, oh, the ethereal realm and shit, like someone's dedicating hours of their life to this thing, watching random YouTubers like me saying shit like that, is insane. And then they go and they criticize other people. Oh, you're not of the same consciousness as me. You need to level up and become a vegan like me. Like, because of some shit they heard from a person on YouTube. It's insane. And I have friends that, I have Christian friends who find YouTubers who put their own weird spin on Christianity and start to talk about like all the secret hidden knowledge that I learned, God was actually this, or the devil was that, and then they're like, oh fuck, I'm enlightened now, and now they're lecturing me, like the whole time we're hanging out, they're like, oh bro, like, the devil was a demon and blah blah, a jinn and blah blah blah, and I'm like, where the fuck are you getting this? My girlfriend, who's really interested in this, searches it up, and she can only find like one source that says, you know, what my friend is saying. And it's like a YouTube video, some crazy old guy. Like these crazy old people on YouTube. Oh no! Oh, Sonny boy, I saw it with my own eyes. You know, the devil, he's a spiritual entity with, you know, from Devil May Cry, the video game. From Dragon Ball Z. Like, I can't make sense of these people. Like, it's really like they don't need evidence. They don't care about like what's actually going on around them. They're living in this spiritual realm of like, whoa, delusion. Like, what the fuck, man? So I don't know how to think about all that. But all I can do is I'm living in this physical reality, and I'm perceiving it the way that I am. And from what I'm seeing, there are specific things that people do to become ill. And you have illnesses of toxicity and overnourishment of basically foods that are not meant for humans. And then you have diseases of undernourishment and malnourishment, like we see in these raw vegans who look like Eugenia Cooney after years. It's fucking sad, but at the same time you can't really be sad because we all have the same we all have the same possibilities to seek the same information. Like, the same information that I found is available to everyone else. You know, like, you can go in the World Carnivore Tribe and see these people who are living, you know, for years. Like, Owsley the Bear Stanley lived for 50 years on an all-meat diet. And you're telling me I need fiber and plant foods to survive. What the fuck? You know? And then these people like, oh, red meat. It's hard to believe that red meat is more nourishing than earth-grown vegetables. Like, really? Because people who live on fucking spinach and tomatoes their entire life, oh yeah, they're real healthy, right? Just look for the video, Vegans, Epitome of Malnourishment by Sverige. And I mean, those are really extreme examples. And most of those people are definitely doing veganism wrong. Because there's a way to do it to last longer and suffer less. But anyway, people eating nothing but fucking fruits and vegetables, see how the fuck they end up. Compare that to the people who live on red meat. You know what I mean? And then listen to these people talk. Listen to John Rose. Jesus Christ. And compare him to, like, I don't know. Compare him to Jack LaLanne. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, fuck all this shit. Let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comments, and I'll talk to y'all in the next video.